slowly, by the time even they come to their teenage period, already these words start becoming meaningful for them. That is how you manifest an experience about something. Many times, when you keep uttering a word, a statement saying that, oh, this is going to be something nice, this is going to be something nice, automatically you start making that as your experience. It becomes your experience. I remember a beautiful incident that happens in Meera, who is Mirabai, who's very deeply connected to Bhagavan Krishna. Her family actually conspires to give her poison because they see that all the time she keeps singing about Krishna, and she was actually deeply devoted to Krishna. In a very young age, she had decided that her whole life is only for Krishna, and she used to just sit with the deity. She said, I will marry only Krishna, I'll live only with Krishna, I'm not going to live with anyone else, etc. etc. But she was later married into someone else's house, and that whole in-laws house, they started hating her because she was too devoted to Krishna and always only used to sing about Krishna. So they didn't like her. So they conspired to somehow kill her. So one of the tactics they try is, they say they know that no other way it is possible to kill her. So they go and get a prasad. They say they get one kheer. It's a sweet dish. They prepare a sweet dish and mix poison in it. And they tell her that it is Krishna's prasadam. And I got it from the temple. Please eat it. It is told that she actually she's so happy. She thinks that her family finally understood her, and she takes to drink it. Suddenly, Krishna goes into her ears and starts uttering, it is hot, it is hot, it is hot, so many times that the cold kheer that she was holding, by hearing that it is hot multiple times, suddenly she starts experiencing that it is hot. She drops the bowl and breaks it. And of course, her life gets saved. See, just that words, it turned even the very experience into something else different. It is too important what thoughts, words that we are cherishing in our inner spaces. How many of you are clicking at this so far? The words you utter makes your breathing space as Kata Akasha or Chita Akasha. Kata Akasha means a space in the pot, which is not useful for the pot. Like Kata Akasha is basically like a useless space that you have. Chitakasha is the same space filled with consciousness. The moment you visualize something, you can 3D print it as a reality. That is what is Chitakasha. How many of you are understanding this? So now take a few minutes. Let's internalize this step by step. Okay. See, Chitakasha means consciously generated space where you are uttering words consciously, tuning to your life's goal and creating a conscious reality. Conscious reality is Chitakasha. You're uttering without knowing why you're uttering or because of compulsion and manifest the default reality. It is called as Katakasha. Default reality is Katakasha. Only when you are initiated by Swamiji, you use your conscious will. With that will, you manifest something consciously in your inner space. Now, let us all do a small, quick internalizing exercise. Take a few minutes. Pen down 5 negative statements that you commonly use in life. For example, I'm feeling very suffocated. I am very irritated. I cannot handle that. You use strong words and generate those ideas and experiences in your life. Please pen them down. Same way, pen down 5 positive statements that you use in life. An experience of those statements had deepened since the first time you used that statement. For example, I feel very peaceful after doing puja. Whenever I do something, some seva for Kailasa, I feel so fulfilled. Whenever I listen to Mahavakya, I instantly get de-stressed. Like this, any positive statements that you utter and how that has become deeper. Let us all do this exercise now.
as all of you are writing, we are now going to be understanding and preparing for the initiation today. Today we have a very, very special initiation called the Chit Jata Granthi Bhedana process.
I was expanding on the science of making the best, highest superconscious mutation as Paramashiva gave this science to Devi and Devi brought to planet Earth in Kanchipuram and started manifesting it. What I am saying is the ultimate truth from Paramashiva directly. Understand? The strands of DNA, components of DNA is kept together through sound. So, if you want superconscious mutation in you, the sound through which your DNA is kept together need to be dismantled and the ultimate sound need to be inserted. Understand? You need to disconnect the threads with which your consciousness and DNA is bound together and alter the connecting point, the sound, into highest possible sound. What kind of a sound is used to bind your consciousness and DNA strands together? That decides what kind of a powers you are going to manifest and what kind of a life you are going to have in your body. I'll repeat. There are 4 situations in your life where consciousness is directly influencing your DNA. When you are hungry, when you are angry, when you are lusty, when you are about to fall sleepy, too tired, just want to get lost, withdraw. These 4 situations, your consciousness directly influences the DNA. The door between the consciousness and DNA is open. During these 4 situations, if you use these 4 situations, you can detox, remove all the unconscious ideas, words you stored inside you, and you can pull them out at Mahavagya. Powerful sounds, Mahavagya, inside you. Listen carefully. Listen carefully. I'll repeat. Your DNA strands are connected through water, hydrophobic material. DNA strands and the consciousness is connected through sound, sounds with which they are connected matters. The good news is you can reprogram, replace the old sounds through which your consciousness and DNA strands are tied together, connected together. The great news is you can use these 4 opportunities to do it easily. I'll give you the precise conclusion. Whenever you feel hungry, angry, lusty, sleepy, intensely reverberate your whole being with Mahavagya, Om Nithyananda Paramashivam, with the decision, let my being, let my consciousness manifest itself through my DNA using this Mahavagya as connection point. Let Mahavagya be the connective point. I tell you, immediately you will experience Kailasa. This Mahavagya is directly from Kailasa. Understand? Your life is all about what kind of a connection your consciousness and DNA has. That's all. Chit Jatak Kranti. Chit means consciousness. Jata means DNA. DNA is the closest matter which can have connection with consciousness. Chit Jata Granthi. The knot between the Chit and Jata. What is the material with which that knot is made? That sound. Sound is the material with which that knot is made. What kind of a sound made that knot? Listen, I'm repeating. If Mahavagya is the sound with which Chit and Jata is connected, you will have ultimate superconscious mutation. Ultimate superconscious mutation. I am telling you, see, I had a guru. His name was Narayana Swami Tata. He's an adept in the science of Aushadha, medicines. He will collect herbs from the ground which was never walked by human beings. மனித கால்படாத இடத்திலிருந்து வேர்களும் செடிகளும் மூலிகைகளும் கொண்டு வருவார். Let me repeat. The place where human beings never walked, from that kind of places he will bring herbs, roots. How you know? He had a trained dog and a goat. The dog will take the goat and go. Goat will identify the herb. Dog will just pick it up and bring it. I have seen this happening. I am not telling you stories. He lived just few years, maybe 30 years before. And still his son, grandsons are, his family is still living in Tiruvannamalai. You can go and talk to them. You will find what I said is true. His name is Narayana Swami Tata. Still the home he lived is there, and all the things he used is there. Maybe the dog may not be alive because you can see his photograph. But surely the family knows whatever I am saying and you can talk to them. I had this kind of masters who are adepts. He told me once, when he was making the aushadha for a so-called incurable disease, kind of a very dangerous cancer. For that he was making aushadha. He collected too many things from too many sources and finally made the aushadha. He called that disciple, or I should say that client, who came to him for healing, for medical care, medical help, aushadha help, the customer. And he gave that medicine to him. Asked him, eat this medicine every day, once a day, for next 42 days. He prepared that medicine with a lot of difficulty. Third day, that guy came back saying that somebody in the home unknowingly threw that whole packet into the river. Without knowing that it is a medicine, they just threw the whole thing while they were cleaning the home and put it in the river. Nearby small stream where they dump all the unwanted things. Surely it is very difficult to do the medicine again. I was wondering how he is going to solve, how he is going to help this person to get out of the cancer now, because making the medicine again, collecting the whole items, almost impossible. All he did, he called that person, made him sit next to him and told, this simple process, whenever you are feeling hungry, do japa of this mantra. I tell you, I know it is very difficult for you to believe. Maybe the power of his initiation, his words, energy. He said, whatever I made as aushadha, your body is capable of producing it when you add consciousness to your hunger. I tell you, surely it is the power of his initiation, because I saw he was having his hand on the shoulder of that person while he uttered these words. So that words have gone into his body like a powerful energy shock. Now literally I am having my hands on all your shoulders and giving you this initiation. Whenever you fall for someone, you are in deeply love with that person, the human being, the person for whom you fall for, you are in love, that person takes you for granted. You feel the other person for whom you have fallen is not loving you so much as you feel for him or her. Listen. Whenever you fall for someone, you always feel the other person for whom you have fallen, that person takes you for granted and that person does not love you, have feelings to the same level you have. Sometimes this is the way you feel, sometimes this is truth also. With ordinary human beings, this is the way love is acted, reacted, given, received, reciprocated. This is the way the love flows with ordinary human beings. With the divine, with Paramashiva, the logic of love is totally different. Listen. When you love me, when you fall for me, first thing, I raise you. Second, I shower life energy in you. When I shower life energy in you, your consciousness is the most superior asset, wealth, property for you and for the world. Listen carefully. I'll tell you one small very sweet, intimate happened between me and my Guru Arunagiri Yogeshwara. I carried food for him one day and he was eating. Few food parts fell from his mouth with his saliva by mistake when he was eating with the hand. I just took that. He thought I am cleaning it up and I may throw it away, but I did not throw it away. I just put it in my mouth. Prasada. The Guru Uchishtam. Guru Prasada. He smiled at me. I still remember. He said, now this body, showing my body, has also become precious asset for the world. It will do a lot of good. In Hindu tradition, the Guru Uchishta, the food partaken by the Guru Prasada is sacred, very sacred. Guru Padodaka means the water with which Guru's feet is washed. The food which Guru has partaken, Guru Uchishta, Guru Padodaka, is highly sacred in Hindu tradition. He said, just that little Uchishta which I took, the power of that, he said that his very biomemory, bioenergy is passed on and that will start flowering in this body now. This body also is a precious asset for the world. because of what it is manifesting. Listen sincerely, intensely. When he loved me, he made me sacred. When I fell for him, he raised me and he made me sacred by showering his love on me. Listen. All of you, my disciples, followers, whom I initiated, all of you have received the greatest, best Uchishta, that is mantra, the Mahavagya, which I used most in my life, is the Mahavagya. The mantra, if you have received, you received the best, greatest Uchishta from me. You are now sacred. Your consciousness is needed for this world. Each of you meditating, living Veda Agamic lifestyle, living enlightenment not only helps you, it helps the world to sail through this pandemic, this pralaya. So when I fell for my Guru, he raised me and showered his love on me and made me sacred. He did not take me for granted. Same way, I want to tell each one of you, I don't take you for granted. When you fell for me, I shower my love on you, and I don't take you for granted. I make you sacred. Understand? Sometimes I may not be giving attention, but never ever feel I take you for granted. I don't take you for granted. Sometimes if I give you attention, you become more conscious and spiritually awakened. Then I shower you with my attention. Sometimes when I give attention, you try to use me like a crutch. Hang on. Then I tell you, don't use me as a crutch. I may not give you attention at that time, but I never take you for granted. Understand? Each one of you are conscious boats to help the humanity sail through this pandemic. When you are doing yoga every day, don't think you are saving only yourself. You are saving many more beings consciously to sail through this pandemic, through this pralaya. In Guru Gita, there's a beautiful verse. Guru Padodakam Panam, Guru Ruchishta Bhojanam, Gurumurte sada dhyanam, Gurumna sada japaha. Gurur namna sada japaha. One should drink the Guru's feet washed water and eat the remnants of the Guru's food plate. One should always chant the name of the Guru and always meditate on the Guru's form. Gurupadodakam panam, Gururuchishta bhojanam, Gurumurte sada dhyanam, Gurur namna sada japaha. What a life. If someone gets this four, they got much more than mukti. If someone gets this four in their life, every day especially, they got much more than mukti. Just remember this one powerful cognition. This Mahavagya puts me in Samadhi. This is spiritual lullaby for Samadhi. And Suprabhatam, wake up song for Paramashiva in me. For Paramashiva to manifest. Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda 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 Paramashivoham.
Today, in this satsang, Swamiji very beautifully revealed to all of us what the first principle based on which all of our cognitions function. Swamiji revealed about the Chit Chata Granthi Bhedana process. And today, all the participants of Paramashivoham level 3 gathered here with us, all of you are going to be receiving this as an initiation today. The Darshan, the special satsang of the Diwali occasion, is going to be starting very, very shortly. We request all the participants, every one of you, to please take a few minutes, reach out to every one of your friends, family members. The Darshan and the special satsang of Diwali, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's live message for Diwali will be starting very shortly. So we request all the participants, the global Hindu diaspora, to please gather for a direct divine audience with the avatar, with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Today is not just an important day as part of the Hindu history and heritage. Today, after the descent of the avatar, today is an important day for Kailasa, for all Hindus at large itself, because today is the first blessing day. It was on this very day, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, after his great pause, landed back, settled into his body, and he uttered the first words, Anandamaga Irungal, be blissful. Swamiji beautifully reveals that realize your highest possibilities and potentialities through bliss. Realize yourself and live in bliss. That is the first principle, the core principle of Hinduism.
Sorry for the technical glitch. So this is that very day, the very first day after the great pause when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism settled into his body. And as Devi Parashakti, the divine feminine consciousness, landed into Swamiji's body, the first words, Anandamaga irungal, be blissful, words manifested from Swamiji, realizing the highest possibility in you and being blissful. I see so many participants from almost, I should literally say, almost all the countries. The Hindu diaspora has gathered here. We are sitting right now live via Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, through various social media platforms. We have various channels through which we are live. And apart from that, we are having over 10 different Zoom rooms flooded with participants across from various time zones, various countries gathered here. And I see a lot of excitement. So many of you so beautifully dressed up. And a very, very warm welcome to each and every one of you that have joined us here today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being here. I know today is a very important day for all of us. Like the beautiful shloka says, Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. The Guru who removes the blindness, darkness due to the ignorance and gives you the ultimate light, liberation, enlightenment. Today, he is celebrated, worshipped for all of us. Through various different ways, we celebrate Diwali, Deepavali, across not just India, but across all the countries wherever Hindu diaspora is. And it's so exciting, especially when we see world leaders, statesmen from various countries where the Hindu diaspora is thriving, coming together and celebrating this auspicious day of Diwali.
And today it's much, much more significant for Kailasa because it is on this auspicious day in the history of Kailasa that so many important and significant events happened. Swamiji beautifully explains, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism beautifully explains how this whole 48 years of the Amavasya, the exact tithi on which the Diwali happens, That whole Amavasya, the 12 hours before the Amavasya and 12 hours after the Amavasya, so it's total 48 hours of this festival, it is extremely significant because the powerful energy manifestation in the cosmos, which is called as Sri Puram, the Shakti, the energy manifestation of the cosmos, opens up to become available to planet Earth. On this very same day, on this very auspicious day, 16 years ago, with the grace of and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the very incarnation, the avatara of Paramashiva, Kailasa opened its Western headquarters, its international headquarters, Kailasa, Los Angeles. And it was on this same day, with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, when he re-entered back from the great pause, from his state of samadhi, the state of highest conscious existence. He decided to come back to the whole of humanity, to contribute, to dedicate his whole life for the upliftment of human consciousness. And this is the first blessing day where the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism uttered the words, "Be blissful," declaring that as the motto, mission, vision, purpose of his very existence, to share bliss to humanity.
It's a very auspicious day to note over here. Not just as a Hindu, but even as a Kailash. I mean, Kailashans, of course, we are a Hindu nation. But to be a disciple of Swamiji, and this marks much more significance for each and every one of us. Like Nithyananda was mentioning beautifully, this was that very day, the first day that Swamiji actually settled in his physical body after enlightenment. After the enlightenment and realizing the avataric mission, Swamiji's body had gotten into a state where it was in a very high frequency, where there used to be no hunger, no thirst, and there was no normal activity happening in the body. It was in complete, that pure state of samadhi, and could not function in the normal day-to-day activities. So this was there for almost 9 months. And after that, in the year 2000, Swamiji, with the grace and blessings of Devi Parashakti, settled into his body. And when he settled into the body, the first words that came out of Swamiji's mouth was these very words, saying, Anandamagar. So beautiful, actually, Swamiji recounts, saying how till that point, there was no feeling of hunger, no feeling of thirst, no even feeling of existing in that body. It was just oneness with the whole of existence. So there was no normal activity, like even sweat, hunger, any of these things happening. It was only after settling on this day, after settling into the body after 9 months, for the first time, even hunger manifested in Swamiji's body. This can only happen with the grace of Mahakali, Parashakti, Devi, Parameshwari, the divine feminine consciousness, Paramashiva Shakti, with whose grace Swamiji, the avatar of Paramashiva, started manifesting through this body. And today is also the anniversary of Kailasa, Los Angeles, Kailasa, Oklahoma, two of the very powerful Kailasa enlightenment ecosystems in the United States of America, whose deities had the Prana Pratishta done by Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself.
Is the day where the divine cosmic mother, Devi Parashakti, Paramashiva Shakti, Mahakali, the energy of Mahakali landed into the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, feeling overflowing with compassion towards the humanity's suffering. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, a boy merely in his 20s, had dedicated his whole life for the upliftment of humanity, for the superconscious breakthrough of humanity. And that laid the foundation of Swamiji's work to re-establish Kailasa and started his public life. Swamiji had started working, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had started proactive work to establish Kailasa from his very young age. There are multiple references. But it is from Diwali, on this day, when the energy of Devi Parashakti landed on Swamiji, that Swamiji settled back into his body after his experience of enlightenment, and he dedicated his whole life. He started his public life giving darshans, extending his inner space for the whole of the world, human beings to come and enjoy, for the whole of human beings to come and benefit from receiving these amazing truths and gifts from Swamiji.
And actually, this is the auspicious day where this gift of Kailasa, Los Angeles, extremely powerful enlightenment ecosystem. In fact, it has been designed and energized and programmed in such a way where it also acts as a portal to the parallel universe with beautiful deities which are personally carved by Swamiji, which are personally energized by Swamiji. And this was the very day these enlightenment ecosystems were energized and made available to whole of humanity. It's just so amazing for me. It was in 2000 when Swamiji had first settled into Swamiji's body and officially started the whole of Kailasa and the public work. And it's just 23 years. It's just been 23 years. But already Kailasa is thriving as the first nation for Hindus and with various initiatives where it has become literally the only place for Hindus to call as their home, for Hindus to call as their nation. And it is this just one person's hard work, sacrifice, and undeterring will persistence to his vision today stands huge as Kailasa. Today, all of us are really blessed because we are going to now be receiving the live presidential briefing from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and we are delighted to welcome all the esteemed guests from across various parts of the world, from various different countries. We have statesmen, kings, queens, and esteemed guests that are joining us in this session. The presidential briefing the presidential address of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that's going to be happening very, very, very shortly.
And all the opinion makers and the decision makers that have gathered here today for the live address, the address directly from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to the global Hindu diaspora, the 2 billion of the Hindus worldwide. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, through Kailasa, is reviving, re-establishing, making Hinduism accessible and available to the whole of humanity. Hinduism, the Hindu diaspora, which is practiced by the Hindu diaspora, who are 2 billion in number all over the world. Hinduism is fundamentally one of the most life-positive, life-contributing civilizations, the longest living civilizations on planet Earth. Today, Hinduism has benefited so many people directly and indirectly, contributing in all of the fields in some of the most major levels, be it technology, arts, architecture, culture, language, mathematics, science, physics. In every aspect, in every frontier, Hindus have been pioneers. Hindus were advanced in their economic policies. Hindus were successful architects of a modern society. Hindus were the first to establish universities. Hindus were the first to begin hospitals. Hindus were the first to begin plastic surgeries. Hindus contributed zero to mathematics, revolutionizing the whole field of mathematics. Hindus were the first to know about astronomy, the first to discover about stars and its existence. And Hinduism, the recorded history of Hinduism itself dates back to more than 5,000 years prior. Hinduism Our Puranas have a recorded history of 42 billion years ago, starting with the Big Bang that happened 42 billion years ago in the form of Bhagavan Lingodbhava Murti. Hinduism is one of the most richest, culturally advanced, open framework where people could come, live, practice, and benefit from the supremely life positive principles that Hinduism is based out of. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Swamiji, very beautifully defines that the first principle that Hinduism is established out of is the principle of be blissful. Ultimately aims to remind, to restore, to make every human being experience his highest peak potential, his highest state of existence as Paramashiva, the supreme godhead of Hinduism. And from his young age, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has dedicated his life to gift humanity this principle of bliss. It surpasses what we commoners could understand or comprehend as peace, what we think about as global peace, because most of the times our ideas of individual peace or global peace is limited to just living in a so-called harmony. But still, we all battle with inner conflicts, which always grows into major world conflicts, whether war that is happening on planet Earth or whether the economic crisis that the whole of humanity is battling with today. All of it fundamentally boils down to the inner conflicts that human beings are facing today. Hinduism, at its very core, offers this supremely life positive, most contributing civilization on planet Earth. That is why Hinduism has produced pioneers, leaders in so many aspects. Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, through the revival of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, Swamiji has made this exact science, this exact lifestyle, life science available to humanity through Kailasa. Today, Kailasa, which is established globally in more than 150 countries around the globe, is actively reaching out, enriching, making a difference in the lives of 2 billion Hindus around the world. All the Hindus around the globe are directly, indirectly being a part of Kailasa, benefiting from the principles that Kailasa stands for, and at the same time, proactively contributing to the global, to the humanity at large. And the first principle, the founding principles of Kailasa, as Swamiji beautifully has envisioned, is Ahimsa Paramo Dharmaha. Non-violence is the ultimate cosmic law. All the citizens of Kailasa are Paramashiva, the supreme divinity, the ultimate godhead. And the citizens, and as the citizens of Paramashiva, everyone has a right to be treated as Paramashiva by the whole of Kailasa. With this founding principle, Swamiji is working to restore the global peace of humanity. I'm sure everyone, all the opinion makers, decision makers that are gathered here today, all of us, something that concerns the whole humanity today is the wars that is happening one after the other. The generation that is growing up on planet Earth today are facing wars, are going through pandemics, are facing economic crisis. This is the world that they are growing up with and they will be growing into in the future. Swamiji, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism here, is not just telling or reminding the humanity with the peace efforts. Swamiji is the only one, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the only one who is leading in the forefront with some of the most unique revivals, some of the most unique contributions to gift humanity the science of both inner peace and outer peace at the same time. Through the various services that Kailasa offers by establishing the outer peace, and through the programs, through the various different principles that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has revived to restore the individual peace in human beings.
How this all started. Because today, when we say Kailasa is the world's only first Hindu nation, the greatest Hindu nation, how that too in just 23 years, how did Swamiji create this? The hard work, how Swamiji attended to each one. If you see, today we all learned about the secret of Bhagavan Nataraja. When Paramashiva dances, the cosmic dance, the Ananda Tandava of Paramashiva, where he starts, he doesn't wait for anything. He doesn't wait for resources. He doesn't even bother when his anklet is falling down. He continues to dance blissfully. Seeing his dance, Patanjali rushes and goes and wraps himself at Paramashiva's feet as his anklet. Understand? Today Swamiji is explaining very beautifully about this, how any one of us should never stop anything, doing anything in our life, giving any reason and waiting for perfectionism. Feeling stuck is the only sin in our life. Swamiji was explaining this very beautifully, step by step. We all learned and understood this, especially the participants of Paramashivam level 3. We had learned about this and did a very detailed workshop on this. If you just study Swamiji's life, today when we are proudly celebrating this grand success of Kailasa and the way how Kailasa has expanded, thriving, this started with Swamiji not waiting for resources at any point. What you're seeing here was the first ever Adinam that was constructed, and you need to know many of these bricks making the thatched hut, Swamiji sat and did along with them, initiating people one by one, attending to people, enriching them, giving them healing, and contributing their lives very, very powerfully, attending to them tirelessly, one by one, and building the whole Kailasa. Swamiji says, build the boat as you swim. This is exactly Swamiji's secret formula. Literally, in every aspect, you will see how Swamiji had worked as one by one, and created this whole thing, what we see as Kailasa today. Swamiji had created it from scratch. And the way, actually, the way how Swamiji started and built this whole thing, I wanted to just share one more thing about it. Swamiji did not wait for resources. Actually, when Swamiji started his whole mission, literally the Adinam was just a forest. It was a complete forest where jackals, hyenas, bears, tigers, cheetahs used to roam around in such a wild atmosphere. There was not even a door for it. Swamiji used to live in a shed, like a cow shed, literally. Without giving a reason, Swamiji did not say, okay, I have my enlightenment. Let me just sit somewhere in Tiruvannamalai and just keep conducting there. No. Despite of all these wild animals roaming around there, being around there, Swamiji was very, very, very clear. He is going to keep build the infrastructure, build the Adinam, and make the whole ecosystem as enlightenment ecosystem and make it available to people, and continue doing all of that by sitting there. I have a small sharing to share with all of you. This is from the person who had donated after he got a vision of how he got a vision of this banyan tree to be gifted to Swamiji and offer it at Swamiji's feet. And he had offered it. So Sri Pratap Rao, he had witnessed how Swamiji built this whole thing in his early years. So we're going to share with all of you. Now we're going to be sharing a small clipping of that sharing with all of you.
In 2003, my brother met Swamiji in Bangalore for the first time. And after a couple of weeks, he told me that this Swamiji is here in Bangalore, why don't you come and see him? So then, before I could see him, the next morning they were here on the farm, early in the morning. And Swamiji said, this is the tree that I have dreamt of and all that. So I said, Swamiji, from here onwards, this tree is yours from now. So my association with Swami started from then, from that moment.
First step